think we're probably live. Oh boy. I need to check something. If I do... Okay, cool. Excellent. Excellent news. Okay. Is this the Valencia room? No, it's not. I'm still at home. We fly out tomorrow. Assuming that's what you mean. This is the Valencia waiting room, though. Oh boy. I have no idea what to play. How exciting. We're on a win streak so far. I'm going to test a little bit of Zoro pod tonight. I've never been particularly successful with Zoro pod, so this is going to be an interesting little... Is Valencia points next season? It is indeed. Oh, I need to get more comfortable. There we go. Ugh. I'll go first. Jack Hill this weekend changed everything. I'll chat to you a little bit later on, Seb. I've definitely got some ideas. But ultimately I'm, I think, in a pretty similar position to you, which is unfortunate. Okay, so let's assume we're against Buzzrock. We want to protect this win pod. I think we just... Do we want to rely on drawing 2 cards with Zoroark next turn? That feels very sketchy. We have Galissapod, we have Guzma. I think I'm ditching these 2. This weekend did change everything though. It was a massive weekend for the format. If we don't draw anything from this... If we don't draw anything from this Zoroark, we could be in a very bad spot. Do I want to put myself in a better spot and have less board state, or get a board state and pray to the gods? Let's pray to the gods. And let's just get a Bridget here. I'm going to bridge it for 2, not 3, because I'm going to retreat into Tapu Lele and that's unlikely to die. I want to see if I can get a Mew next turn. I could just bridge it for Mew here. That could be another play. But I'm just going to do this, I think. I think it's very unlikely that he takes out the Wimpod when he could take out Zoruas. If he wants to. If he doesn't take out... If he takes out the Wimpod, I think I'm still fine. Buzzrock doesn't normally play Blower, so I'm fine attaching this here. I think it should now play 1 after this weekend, but let's pretend he's not a smarty pants. Hey Don Bro, how you doing? So we are taking a big chunk here. I knew this Lele would always take a big chunk, but that's fine. The Lele is not a Zorua or a Wimpod. Getting out a Rockruff. If we don't elixir to it this turn, ignore me. Sycamore, very good. Already ditched that Ultra Ball. Strong fighting, okay. DNC out. Another baby Buzz. And a Buzzwole. He's benched a Buzzwole, that's really big. That's something that we can hopefully use against him towards the end of the game. Look at this board state, turn 1. How does a man deal with this? By getting a Zoroark. Oh, trading a second Guzma. Whee! We have counter catchers, or we have a counter catcher. Trading a Guzma. Guzma's really important for cycling Galissapods. But without a Galissapod on board, I don't think I'm ever attacking with Galissapod here, so I actually think I'm better off trading the Galissapod. This could be wrong. This night of Zoro Testing is going to be full of mistakes. I want you guys to bear in mind because I'm not at all experienced with the deck. And I just need to learn it, essentially. Looks like we have to lay for Cynthia here. And hope we get our second Glitterpod plus energy. Because we can't respond with Mew. Interesting. Also for tonight we have NAIC results. We don't have all of the decks and stuff, but we have top 8. That's the main thing. So I'm going to be going over those. This is going to be a shorter stream than usual because I have a lot to do tonight and it's just me. Joe and Luke are not able to join me. And I'm not feeling fantastic, so I don't want to stream for a super long amount of time. But that being said, I thought this was a very important stream to have, as NAIC has just dropped. So we also weren't not going to do a stream. How important is this choice band? 70. Okay. This is where reverse value would be good in the deck. I don't think we can ever just pass against Buzzrock at this point. I think the 60 damage is still fine. Did Joe go? Joe did not go to NAIC, neither of us did. We both enjoyed it from the comfort of our own homes. Oh, well, I was at Luke's, but you get me. Sledge hammer. Thoughts on straight Zoro arc? That's the question, isn't it? What are my thoughts on straight Zoro arc? Honestly, I think the deck's busted. Frogs are dead to me. I think the deck's incredibly good. I haven't used a supporter this turn. Oh. Okay. Can we say that Tour has won 3.5 internationals? I was really upset that Tour didn't win, but it was a fantastic series. We watched it, and Stefan is a really, really good player. I think both players deserve to be exactly where they were in yesterday's tournament, and both deserved the win. They worked really hard. I know for a fact Stefan has been on a tear this season. So it's really, really good for him to be able to round it out with a nice win at NAIC as well. Priced for 2 Frogadier, 4 out of 5 rounds. NAIC before dropping. Frogs are dead to me. Nice. When is there going to be more Nuzlocke? I'm not 100% sure when the next one goes up. But there'll be 2 or 3 whilst we're in Valencia. So 2 or 3 over the next few days. Zoro carried me to an okay winning record. That's what Zoro does. This is exactly what we wanted. Actually, not necessarily, because if he gets this... Okay, if he takes this, this is fine, because then we can try and dig for a Guzma. We dig for a Guzma, knock this out. We're at 3 prizes. And we miss his Baby Buzz turn, which is really big. One of them both to win, yeah. It's quite a large hand you have there. Again, it's what Zoroark does. So the ideal here is Counter Catcher plus Floatstone. Did we ditch the other Floatstone? We might have ditched the other Floatstone. No, Counter Catcher plus Floatstone is the ideal. We have Guzma. Oh, what do we ditch? I'm going to ditch this Wimpod. We're probably going to need a second Glisspod this game. We drew the Wimpod anyway, it's fine. Let's grab ourselves a third Zoroark. It feels very strange to be doing all this before using our supporter, but we have to Guzma this, I think, ultimately, if we don't hit Counter Catcher, which we did not, so I think we now have to Guzma this. Take this threat off the board. This enables B-String, but I think there's no particular board state particular situation he can put us in where we can't go down to 2 prizes next turn. Ideally, we're going to be knocking out this and ending him, but again, that requires finding a Counter Catcher, and we only run 1. So, what's the plan? Can I find it in the set review video? Well, there's 2.5 hours of set review for you to go through to try and find it. It was a fun set review to do. 1 America, top 4 in Masters, and no wins in TCG. I mean, they're international tournaments. I guess you can't 100% rely on the home nation winning. So he has a big hand. I'm expecting a lot of B-strings here. He goes for the Mew, which is what I expected, though... Okay, I was going to say, has he realised he can't do this? But yes, he has. Maybe not. Is he going to try and Sledgehammer? Oh dear, friend. That's not how that works. Whoops. Whoopsie daisy. Okay. I wasn't expecting this. So I haven't prepared for this situation, really. Huh. Maths is hard, guys. There's the Counter Catcher. We can't use it anymore. I honestly expected to get knocked out. This is... oh dear. What do we want to take out here? Do we want to take out the Remoraid and deny and then be able to end him next turn? Or do we want to be able to... Do you want to take out the threat? If we take out the threat, honestly, he has no B-strings left. So how does he respond? So, again, you need to find Guzma Floatstone. We have both of those in the discard. We actually have all of our Guzma in the discard. Okay. So we're going to have to use this. We're never counter-catching if we're doing this route, because we're going to 1 prize, so if we have less prizes than him, we've lost. So we can ditch the counter-catcher with ease. We have 2 Lele's in hand, no board space anyway, so we don't need to keep both. This is the plan. The next thing is, how do we... So now we're going to double puzzle for Guzma plus Floatstone. Okay, cool. We beat a Buzzrock. Eating Max, thank you very much for the kind words about Valencia. It'll be a fun tournament, even if it'll be a difficult one to predict. I personally have no idea what to play. But, yeah, no. Still got a couple of days. It'll get to about around 9:30, so maybe 1 or 2 more games. Then I'll look at NAIC results. Then I will have a couple more games, give you a rundown of what's going to be happening over the next couple of weeks whilst we're not here, and probably call it there for tonight. A slightly shorter stream than usual. But if you guys are lucky, I probably can indeed throw up a Nuzlocke for you guys tonight. 5 days, convince you to play the fairy. Get messaging me, Max. Get messaging me. I was thinking about it on the way home today, and I think fairy. I think a good Sylveon player could potentially, could potentially beat towards deck. Potentially, not by any means 100%, but potentially. If we can armor press from turn 2, that would be pretty solid. We don't even lose to turn 1 E-Hammer. Plus I don't want to draw it next turn. Draw it from its end, sorry. Ending him is really unfortunate, but I want something on my board, and we got something on the board. We actually have Mallow plus Zoroark next turn, so we can get Grass Energy plus Floatstone. We have an incredibly good hand against Greninja. Didn't N us. Excellent. He did get the E-Hammer though. What a clown. Wasn't a fan of the deck they played. It seemed boring. I mean, I guess it's kind of boring, but my god, did it do the job. It was a proper control deck, and I love control-based decks. Puzzle off the top is so unfortunate. Don't order lol. So we're going to have to ditch one of these puzzles, which is fine. It's just a bit annoying, but hey. You beat Nico when he played it? There's definitely, it's not by any means the best deck ever made ever, but I think it's a very good deck. And I'm here to convince you why in approximately 15 minutes time. It was definitely an interesting deck though. It wasn't something at all I expected. I expected Zoroark. Ooh, that's loud. Dombro resubscribed for 4 months. Thank you very much, Dombro. Appreciate the support. Enjoy your Gym Jam for a 4th month in a row. It wasn't at all the deck I was expecting to play. I actually expected him to play Zoropod. I actually expected pretty much all of them to play Zoropod. They did not, which is fine. That's fine. I think Zoropod may have been slightly predictable, so I can understand them not wanting to. But even so. Why not trade the Gliscod and puzzle for it? Ah, I could have traded the Gliscod and puzzled for it. Yeah, that's right. Very true. This is an N. Well, this is a supporter, sorry. This is not. And we just want to be armor pressing for the rest of the game now. Yeah, trading the Glisspod will also give me DC this turn, which is exactly what I'm looking for. You are indeed correct. Ron Blade, hello. How you doing, my friend? You can also Guzma kill something. But that doesn't feel as good as getting a new hand. I don't want to end him. And he gets me one less card and gives him 3 cards. Let's just naturally draw the DCE like absolute bosses. Oh dear. Dun, 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 dun. Us not getting a knockout here is pretty big, honestly. Hoops you already typed that. Why am I doing this? Sorry, I can never trade as of next turn. Silly Jack. One tanky frog. So yeah, what I should have done there was trade the Glisspod and double puzzle for it back. Okay. Learning with a good flying bird. I really want to be able to play Zoro Pod with some, at least some form of skill. I'm just not very good with the deck though. E-Hammer is going to be important, I think. Shadow Stitch. E-Hammer DCE from a 5 card in. DCE is good. If we parallel him, we can't one-shot breaks. But he's then doing 20 with Shadow Stitch. He's doing nothing with Shadow Stitching. That feels pretty good. That feels pretty good. What are we paralleling away if we parallel? I want to keep this for Acerola. So we can Acerola. That means I want to keep this. That means I want to keep... So do I actually just ditch these two and save the Zoroark in hand? I have to either revolve or ditch this. I could parallel limit his bench, but he can just ditch this and this. He has... paralleling ditching his bench is still good. It just means we can never one-shot. But it doesn't matter if we can't one-shot because we can one-shot by Acerola-ing next turn. Okay, yeah, I'm actually paralleling his side. Because he has to ditch this, and either this or this. Either way, that's fine, because he's either losing Starmie and has to find it out again, or is ditching a Frogadier. And then when we kill this, he only has 2 frogs out. Next turn, yes, we can't armor press for knockout on a break. Oh, interesting. He got rid of this frog. Why did he get rid of that frog? Now he can't break next turn. Okay. I don't want to draw into this later. I really don't know why he got rid of that frog. Why did he get rid of that frog? Now he can't break next turn. Like, I was way more scared if he broke next turn, because he can then do way more damage. I don't get it. He's now only ever getting 1 breakout this game, right? Question mark? Someone explain this to me. I don't understand. Counter catcher. Luckily for us. Don't want to bench this yet. We lose to the same player this time, but we lose from counter capturing anything else. And if we can keep this down. No, he's never knocking out his Golisopod yet. We don't need to knock. We don't need to do that until he knocks out this Golisopod. If he knocks out this Golisopod, how much can you do? You can do 110, 170, 170 plus. So he needs break, choice band, DC. No, what? Break, choice band 2. Needs break, choice band 2 water energies. He has 2 water energies. Wait, does he? No, he doesn't. Because he's not through Starmie. I'm feeling safe. He needs to break the lock if he does this. Oh, we just lose the. I think we can get away with not doing it for a turn. I think we have to do this the turn we're going to get knocked out. Now we've used our Racer Roller because we don't have puzzles in hand. We have one puzzle now, but. So he needs break, attach, snipe the active, choice band from a 6 card hand. I guess F5. Break, choice band, shuriken isn't enough. Oh yeah, I'm armor pressing. Oh yeah, I'm safe. Oh, it's safe. Okay. I have the choice band. Oh baby. There's a Lele. That's 2 prizes. So he's doing 20 this turn. No, he's doing 50 this turn because of the band. Dum 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 dum. Is the 60 damage ever relevant? We want him to break the lock. As soon as he breaks the lock, we can come back into this game, I think. The 60 damage isn't relevant. I don't think the 60 damage is relevant. Okay. So what's our new Voltar? That deck's interesting. That deck's really interesting. If you've listened to the set review yet, we talk about Commandment Shrine, which is a good spreading card, and I actually really, after recording that set review, I really want to look at building spread. I think it could be strong. Evening Heavy Tortoise. Grass energy, grass energy, grass energy off the top. Do you have to know the Volta list that was played? we'll have a look at the list later on, probably after this game. We'll be able to have a look at the exact list actually. They're all on Pokemon.com though. That's where we'll be having a look at them. Did I throw this game? Someone tell me in the chat if I threw this game. Oh, looks like I might have connection issues. Oh, the list posted. List's posted. Oh, we lost connection. That's sad. Well, we were losing anyway. Let's not do this. Let's actually go and have a quick look at these lists next. I'm pretty sure we were losing that game. I'm pretty sure we were losing that game. So let me move this. We do this. This. Whoa. Okay. Let's look at some lists. Let me just... How big do you want this to be, people? Do you want this to be smaller, bigger? Is that fine? So Greninja but on the wrong side of the field. Yes. The lists aren't limitless, no. They're on the official Pokemon website. So yeah, this weekend was the 2018 North American International Championships. I think there were over 1,500 players. I think it was 1,534, I believe. So the biggest tournament of all time, which is really impressive. We like the biggest tournament of all time. We want that to get bigger. That number was just shy of enough people for top 512 points. So it was top 256 points. I think a lot of people were hoping for top 512 to try and grab their invite, but alas, didn't quite make it. And Zoroark Garbodor won. Stefan Ivanov from the region of France was able to take down the tournament with Zorogarb. I think the French guys have been playing Zorogarb, especially Fabian, for a long time. I believe they're teammates. They're definitely friends. What's the name of the good card that you said would help Yveltal? Commandment Shrine. So yeah, this list is... I've had a quick glance over all of the lists. I'm going to need to go through them with you guys now. But there's nothing crazy, mad about this list. 4-4 Zoroark, of course. 2 Trashy Launch, 1 Garbotoxin. I think is fine right now. Obviously, this Garbotoxin is really, really important in certain matchups against things like Malamar. You want to be getting this out, but you should have a pretty good Malamar matchup anyway. It's not major in the Buzzwole matchup. You're actually better off trying to get these Garbs out, I think, to be doing double damage. Also good for Zoro Mirrors. Being able to stop them trading is huge. 3 Trubbish, 3 Lele, 1 Kartana. There's often debate as to whether to play Kartana or not. Blade GX, finishing a game super quickly, plus having a searchable E-Hammer is fantastic, of course. I think I'd try it out. I haven't tried this deck personally, but I think I would play it currently. There's a lot of special energy going around, so I think being able to hate on them is very, very good. And then 1 Latios. He said Latios Lagoon Flighting Buzzwoles is pretty broken. It just kind of means they have to deal with it before it starts getting out of hand. This thing can one-shot Buzzwoles with a Lagoon Flight, but it can also set up some nice numbers for breakthrough in the early turns as well, which is cool. It means that you don't completely rely on 2 Garbodors to be doing double damage in the Buzzwole matchup. You have Latios as well, which is nice. 4 double colourless, and obviously unit energies because we're in Kartana. Makes sense. A little bit more weak to all the special energy hate, rather than just playing the regular psychic energies, but still you need it for Kartana, so that's completely fine. 4 N, 3 Guzma, 2 Bridget is quite low, but you are running Treasure, of course. 1 Acerola, 1 Cynthia, 1 Sycamore, so a total of 6 draw supporters is fine. I think 5 or 6 is where I would be. using this instead of Limitless. Limitless don't have the lists, I believe. Should I double check? I'm pretty sure they don't. Yeah, Limitless don't have the list yet. 6 draw supporters is fine. 2 parallel, pretty good for the mirror, pretty good against... Well, it's just a very good card. I don't know why I'm saying it's good in particular matchups. This card is just good, really. It's good for Zoro, good for Mali, good for pretty much everything. 2 parallel is great. 4 Ultra Ball for Puzzle of Time, 3 Field Blower, 3 Floatstone, 2 Choice Band. This is, I think, an ode to how much space this deck has. You can't run the regular sort of 4 Floatstone you see in a lot of Garb decks. You do obviously have trade to get yourself into them though, which is very, very important. Similarly to Choice Band. One big thing with obviously playing 2 of the Trash Giant Garbodor means that you're probably going to be reaching the numbers anyway, so Choice Band isn't quite as important because in the late game Garbodor should be taking 1-shots anyway. 1 Heat Hammer, along with the Kartana for more special energy hate, which is nice. 1 Evo Soda, along with 1 Treasure, helping sort of make the deck a little bit more consistent, search out your Zoroarks, but also being able to have the Treasure to find Turn 1 Lele, plus your Garb pieces as well is nice. It's another out to Turn 1 Bridget as well, which is fantastic. And 1 Rescue Stretcher, just for recovery. 1 Garbodor, 1 Latios, 1 Kartana, all of these kind of cards maybe you want to use once or twice in the game, and you only have 1 count of anyway. Someone asked if I expected Zoroark to win. I did not expect Zoroark to win. I actually thought Zoroark was one of the weaker Zoroark variants going into this weekend. I think he only faced 2 Buzzwole, and I think naturally its Buzzwole matchup isn't great. It's not as free as people think it is because you're running Psychic Boys. But he did only run into 2 Buzzwole, so that worked out very, very well. I think it's very good in Zoroark Mirror because obviously you can stop their trade when you want, while still being able to trade yourself up until the point you do indeed trade. You do indeed Garbotoxin, sorry. I think this is a pretty standard list. There's nothing crazy. Someone said about cutting the Sycamore for another Bridget. I can see that. The kind of support accounts in Zoroark decks I don't feel too familiar with myself. I've seen like 3 N2 Cynthia in a lot of Zoro decks. So the 4 N1 Cynthia, this split of 5 draw supporters or 5 shuffle supporters is fine. The Sycamore is always kind of a floating slot in my eyes. I can see it being a 3rd Bridget. But I guess with 4 balls, 3 Leles, and a Treasure as well, maybe he didn't feel he needed 2 Bridget because he had enough outs to turn 1 anyway, which is really, really good. So yeah, fantastic result from Stefan Ivanov. The final was pretty good. All of his games, honestly, were very, very good. He's a very humble guy. I've only spoken to him, I think, once personally, despite being from the same region as him. But yeah, very, very nice guy. Very, very deserving winner. Like I say, not the deck I expected to win, but all the same, very, very good. Taking down Lord Tord in the final, playing Zorolock. They've called it Zoroark here, but I think Zorolock is my personal name for it. This is, even with this Yveltal Break deck right here, this is without a doubt my favourite deck in the top 8. This deck is control, man. This is really, really cool. 4/4 Zoroark, obviously. Lord Tord loves his Zoroarks. 4 Tapu Lele. So he won, I'm pretty sure he won NAIC last year. Well, I know he won NAIC last year. I'm pretty sure he won it with 4 Lele in his Drampagarb deck. So he loves the 4 Lele, mashing in all of his IC wins together. Taking the 4 Zoroark and also taking the 4 Lele, putting him in a deck and making it work. 1 Mew EX, obviously Zoroark is weak to the brown stuff. This is strong against the brown stuff, so that hopefully evens the matchup a little bit. And 1 Resource Management Oranguru, which I would possibly say is the best card in the deck. This card is essentially one of your biggest win conditions from what I've seen. It's a fantastically strong card. I think it's really, really impressed me. And just being able to Oranguru lock yourself into the game, you can't ever really lose the game once you get into the lock against other Zoroark decks. It's a fantastic sort of place to be. even I just think this deck is so good. 4 DCE are the only energy is running. Obviously, none of these guys, all of these guys attack for DCE, so you don't need anything else, which gives you 42 slots for trainers. 42. That is incredible. 3 Bridget. Pretty standard between 3 or 4. 3 Guzma. Again, it's not as important in things like compared to things like Glisipod. 3 Guzma I think is perfectly fine. 3 N. 1 Acerola, along with the 2 Max Potion he's playing. This helps. This is another help against Zoroark decks and decks that try and 2-shot you. This helps you cycle through your attackers and win the 2-shot race. 1 Cynthia along with the N for more draw support, similarly with 1 Sycamore. For Disruption, 1 Delinquent, 1 Flagrant. Hello, these cards are fantastic. Obviously, Seb ran a Delinquent in his winning list from Sheffield. Todd's also throwing Delinquent in here. This is a really control-y deck, so whenever your opponent has 3 cards in hand, you're running Parallels yourself. I'm pretty sure. Where have they gone? Yes, yeah, they're right here. You're running Parallels and 1 Reverse Valley yourself, so you have supporters. I think, stadiums, which means your Delinquent supporter is live pretty much when you want it to be. I think it's a really, really strong card in today's format. I think people will expect it a bit more now, but even after Seb winning with it in Sheffield, people, it feels like, still weren't expecting this card, so I reckon, I would imagine, I haven't spoken to Todd personally, but I would imagine it got him some pretty funky wins this weekend, people not expecting it and him being able to just sort of completely ruin someone's day. Similarly with Flagrant, this is another fantastic card for Zoro decks. Essentially, the deck becomes kind of like a mill deck from what I've seen. Against Zoroark, you have Oranguru basically shuffling back 3 Puzzle of Time every turn, and the puzzles are getting things like Flagrants, Delinquents, E-Hammers, that kind of thing, to run your Zoroark opponents out of energy. No one, literally 0 people other than the people playing this deck, I'm pretty sure were playing Guru in this tournament. So basically anyone he hit, any Zoro he hit that wasn't playing a Guru, he just had to get Guru out and start resource managing to be able to just cycle Flagrant and E-Hammer for the rest of the game until they decked out, which was his strategy in some of the Top Cut games that we saw, and it worked fantastically well. Stadiums wise, 2 Parallel and 1 Reverse. 1 Reverse means you can one-shot Baby Buzzers with Zoroark, and that in combination with the weakness policies means that Baby Buzz actually isn't anywhere near as much of an issue as it usually is. Like I say, 2 Parallel City is a fantastic card. We were talking about it when we were looking at Stefan's deck. And limiting Zoroark's damage, limiting the Malamars on a Malamar board, that kind of thing. Even against Buzzwole, this is a really, really big card just to annoy people, annoy the Buzzwole player. They have to get rid of Rockruffs and get rid of Lycanrocs and stuff like that. Maybe even get rid of Deancey and stuff because they've B-stringed onto a load of Pokemon and they don't want to have wasted their time. So that's really, really good. Just in general, it's a fantastic card, being able to push your opponents out of the game and really force them to find more resources. We all know how good Parallel is. Similarly, like I say, with Reverse Valley, being able to one-shot Baby Buzzwoles with Zoroark, not Zoroark at all, being able to one-shot Baby Buzzwoles with Zoroark, excuse me, along with the weakness policy is really, really strong. 4 Puzzle, in combination with the Oranguru, the best cards in the deck, I'll get you back exactly what you want. 3 E-Hammer, very similar with the Flagrant. 3 E-Hammer, just forcing Zoroarks out of energy. That's how you win Zoroark Mirrors. It's the simplest way. 3 Evo Soda, your deck pretty much relies on this draw engine right here. You need 4 Zoroark out in a lot of games, and Evo Soda is the way you do that. Similarly, Ultra Ball, not only searching your turn 1 Bridget through Lele, but also getting the pieces you need, the Mew EX, even the Oranguru for later on in the game. 2 Field Blower, this deck is very ability reliant, so being able to ditch the float stones on Garbs is really, really important, especially when you can actually shuffle your, well, not just, like, when I say you're shuffling in with Oranguru, you're shuffling 3 puzzles in, you're able to puzzle back pretty much infinite amount of Field Blower, so you never lose to Garbodor via them running you out of Field Blowers. You always have as many Field Blowers as you need. You can lose to other ways. We saw, unfortunately, Tord wasn't able to beat Stefan, so Garb is still an issue, but being able to have, you do have access to technically infinite Field Blowers if you want them. But just having 2 physical copies as well is really, really important. 2 max potion. Similarly with the Acer Roller, just being able to stop your opponent winning. It sounds really odd to say that, but stopping your opponent winning, forcing them to find more energy, to do more damage, to these are like more E-hammers. You're forcing more turns out of your opponent, and the more turns you have, the more you build your own deck with Oranguru whilst milling them out of their own, which is the main thing this deck does. Or against Zoroark decks, it's really, really important to be able to do that from what I've seen and what I've pretty much watched on the stream this weekend. That's a really, really important thing. So just forcing more turns out of your opponent is very, very important. Weakness policy is pretty much saying Buzzwole isn't playing Field Blower right now. Weakness policy means that Buzzwoles aren't absolutely destroying me, so let's chuck some weakness policies in here. Force Buzzwoles to actually have to hit 210 again, which is crazy when you're playing the Zoroark stuff. And then we have Mew to try and respond on them, which is really, really nice. We can then reuse Mew. Plus being able to have an answer to early Buzzwole as a Zoroark deck through weakness policy plus Reverse Valley pretty much I think evens the matchup up, especially with one Mew as well. The early turns you're nowhere near as worried. Obviously Lycanroc is still a bit of an issue, but you are able to E-hammer plus Flare Grunt the Lycanroc, which is really, really big. You can also counter catcher it as well and kill it early before it turns into a big pupper. Also good in Oranguru as well. Yeah, Oranguru is more than happy to take a weakness policy as well to live for a little while. And Lele. Yes. 1 float stone. Pretty standard, just being able to, after you've taken a knockout, throw something into the active and trade before you make your final decisions. Very important. 1 Mallow. Not sure why this isn't up with the supporters. But yeah, being able to search for the 2 cards you need for your combos is a very combo-oriented deck, especially in the late turns. So being able to grab those 2 combo pieces in the late game is very important. In the early turns, it grabs you exactly what you need to get into the game. Maybe it's getting you another Zoroark, maybe it's getting you an energy, which is going to get you a knockout, that kind of thing. Mallow is fantastic with Zoroark, of course. 2 counter catcher. This deck can go down on prizes. I think a lot of the time the deck actually did not win on prizes. It won on deck out against, like I say, Zoroark. That is one of your main strategies from what I can see. So sort of just being able to allow your opponent to go ahead on prizes, and then you're able to N plus counter catch them is really, really important. Bring something into the active, either knock it out or lock it active whilst ending them at the same time is just really, really annoying for people to deal with. And then 1 rescue stretcher. Not only is it a fantastic card for recovering, pretty much your engine, and your attacker, which is Zoroark, getting you 1 Oranguru and Mew back as well is very, very important. But also being able to just shuffle 3 cards back into the deck in the mill matchups is very important for not running out of cards before your opponent does. Someone asked me to play this. Oh, I will for you guys, but I'm not going to be able to play it very well. But I'm happy to bring Big Brain for half an hour. Like I say, I'm not feeling great, so I'm not going to be doing too long of a stream tonight, but I'll maybe Big Brain it for the last couple of games once I've gone through the rest of these lists. Yeah, this list is broken. I think it's one of the best Zoroark decks we've seen. It's a Zoroark deck that is also a mill deck, so I'm interested. I think this is fantastic. I think if it weren't so out in the public, I would 100% play it for Valencia next week. But I think Guru is going to be in a lot more decks, and that makes this in general a worse pick, I think. Doesn't make it a bad pick necessarily. I think you can still beat Guru decks because you have 3 Enhanced Hammer and a Flare Grunt, whereas I often only have 2 Enhanced Hammer. Yes, you both have Infinite, but you have more physical ones in general. You're going to find them more often in the early game. So I actually do think this can beat Guru decks, but it's just going to be even more of a slog. And I would imagine it's going to be, if I play this next week for Valencia, it's going to be 8 rounds of big brain, trying to work out exactly what the hell I need to do, and I don't know that I can do that. But we'll see. I sure will have a couple of games tonight. Jimmy Pendarvis was the highest placing North American playing Zoropod. I'm pretty sure all of Carta Magica played Zoropod. I think they all actually played the same list, which is pretty good. 4-4 Zoroark, 3-2 Glisspod, all pretty standard. 2 Tapu Lele is a little bit low for my liking. I personally would like to see 3. But hey, I guess they figured they didn't really need it. It's very interesting that they went for the 4th Bridget over the 3rd Lele. I can see if they're only playing 2 Lele, they don't need to play... Oh, there's not as much reliance on playing the Mysterious Treasure. But I still would like a 3-3 Bridget, Lele, and finding a space for Treasure. But they've got some other choices in here instead. 1 Mew EX, 1 Mewtwo. We saw Magnus Calland play 2 Mew EX in Sheffield. They've gone for the 1 Mew, 1 Mewtwo. I don't mind that at all. I actually think I'd probably do the same rather than playing the 2 Mew. Though that being said, I have really enjoyed Mew in the past few games I've had with Zoropod. It's such a threat against Buzzwole. This is conditional. This just takes knockouts. So I can see why both work. I think I'd try out Mewtwo personally, but right now I'm on 2 Mew as well. Energy, 4 DC of course. Not the 3 grass, 2 grass and 1 rainbow. From what I understand, you'll have to quote me if I'm wrong. Thanks Doomsday for the Team EU bits, 6 bits, very, very appreciative. From what I understand, I don't know this at all, this is word of mouth that I've heard from people I've chatted to about the deck. I haven't spoken to these guys personally. The 1 rainbow is 1 to be able to copy cool stuff with Mew. You're able to copy Baby Buzz, you're able to copy sort of other random bits and bobs out there. But also you're able to actually, what's it called? It's right here. Tapu Cure GX. You're actually able to Tapu Cure GX. Joe told me last night that they played it to be able to Tapu Cure. They're not running very many, or pretty much any. They're only 1 max potion as their only form of healing. So this is also a healing card. Tapu Lele is also a healing card. I don't know that that's the exact reason, but it is something you can do. If anyone knows the exact reason, if they've said it anywhere, please let me know because I'll be very interested to hear why. But that would be my guess. That's Joe's guess. That's the best we can do with the limited information we had. It was to copy and Tapu Cure GX. Okay. I assumed so. I couldn't think of anything else, but yeah. Trainers for Bridget, like I say, I personally prefer the 3 Lele, 3 Bridget count, but sure. Mew EX copying Dangerous Rogue. I see. Interesting. Okay. Mew EX copying Dangerous Rogue. That's cool. 3N, 2 Guzma. This is something of note. 2 Guzma in a Glitterbot deck is scary. They are only 2 counter catcher, so they have 4 catcher effects. But I think I almost always prefer 3 Guzma, 1 counter catcher personally. Before today, I was actually running 3 Guzma, 2 counter catcher. I've since gone down to 3 Guzma, 1 counter catcher and put in an Oranguru in my Zoropod list. But I think 2 Guzma is very, very cheeky. I really, really think you need to play 3. I think it's too important. However, you can't N plus Guzma, you can N plus counter catcher. So obviously there are benefits. But, you know, in general, I think I personally would have preferred 3 Guzma, 1 counter catcher. But again, you can't fault the list of a man that got 3rd place at NAIC. 1 Cynthia, again, 5 draw supporters with the Sycamore there as well. They're pretty standard. 1 Delinquent. This is another Delinquent in a Zoro deck. Combined with the 3 Parallel City, I actually don't mind this. I personally wouldn't play it. I wouldn't give this many slots to Delinquent because you need to play 3 Parallel for Delinquent, I think. And I don't think it's worth it. But I think if you are playing Delinquent, you do need to play 3 Parallel City. So I like this count if we're playing the Delinquent. I'll be interested to see how many times he Delinquented people out of game. Or into games he would normally lose. Seb said he did it personally 4 times during his tournament in Sheffield. I'll be interested to see whether it's similar for Jimmy. I wonder whether people still aren't playing around Delinquent or whether people are, I don't know, just not able to play around it. I really don't know, but I really thought this card wouldn't see much play post Seb doing well with it, because I think everyone will be aware of it, and it turns out actually it's in at least 2 of the decks that top cut this weekend. So, you know, maybe people just aren't respecting the Delinquent right now. And then 1 Sycamore to round off the draw supporters as well. 3 Parallel, obviously fantastic for 1, being able to limit Zoro's bench, limit Malamar's bench, that kind of thing. But 2, as I've said, you need to have access to being able to lock in a stadium ready for Delinquent, which is a really, really big board swing. So you kind of need to play 3 Parallel. Playing 3 Parallel means you pretty much always see it first as well, which is really, really good in Zoro mirrors that are also playing Parallel, because you're often the one getting the Parallel down, which is nice. Pretty standard, 4 Puzzle, 4 Ultra Ball, 3 Evo Soda. Already chatted about the 2 Counter Catcher. I personally, like I say, would prefer the third Guzma over the second Counter Catcher, but there are combos with this. At the end of the day, this card requires you to be behind, which is awkward, but also at the same time, Guzma is a supporter. You know, it's so hard to say. I really think I would prefer 3 Guzma, 1 Counter Catcher, but I don't hate this at all, I guess. 2 E-Hammer, I think, is pretty standard. I think after Zoro doing so well in the past few weeks, you have to expect more Zoro mirrors, and things like Parallel and E-Hammer are the cards you're going to want for those mirrors. 2 Field Blur, dealing with Garb decks is really important, plus getting rid of choice bands is very, very nice. 1 choice band and 2 Floatstone. This is the count I like right now. Choice band doesn't help maths in this deck anywhere near as well. So you want to be able to... so you're better off running 2 Floatstone, I think, over the 2-1 split the other way around, which is really important. And finally, 1 Max Potion. This is the only way of recovery, which I guess is why they've decided to go for the 1 Rainbow and Lele Spice to be able to heal up. I think Acerola, you don't, essentially, if you're playing the Delinquent combo, you don't have space for things like Acerola. I would love another Lele, I would love another Guzma, and I would love an Acerola, and I think that's 3 of the cuts I see here. I see 2 Parallel being cut and a Delinquent for those 3 cards. Maybe a Counter Catcher, but you can't play Delinquent without this, so maybe we cut 1 Delinquent, 1 Parallel, 1 Counter Catcher for a 3rd Guzma, a 3rd Lele, and an Acerola, and then you can go to 3 Grass. But essentially, this is their answer. Max Potion, again, isn't a supporter. I think, from what I can see from this list, a lot of their idea against hyper-aggressive decks, especially like Buzzwole, is let them take prizes, try and knock out their Octillery with N plus Counter Catcher, and try and win the game back from there. You have a lot of comeback mechanics in this deck, which is really, really good in a format which is so aggressive. Having cards that only benefit you when you're behind is going to be really, really good when you naturally don't have the best matchup against one of the hyper-aggressive decks of the format. So yeah, Zoro Pod, I think, was expected to do well, did well. I think Jimmy is a fantastic player, and all of Carta Magica are fantastic players, of course, and really think they did their own thing with this Zoro Pod list. I personally prefer more standard Zoro Pod lists, but this has some real spice in it. Triple Parallel plus Delinquent was probably really, really good against Zoro Mirrors, which is really big. Bob McDougal with 10 bits, thoughts on Zoro post rotation. It loses some very big cards. It loses Bridget, it loses Evo Soda, it loses Puzzles, but it also gains Mad Cargo. And that could be enough to keep it in. We haven't done too much post rotation testing so far. As soon as we have, though, we will indeed let you know what we think of it. I think it could still be a top tier competitor, though. Adam Hawkins making it into the semi-final as well on the other bracket, playing Psychic Malamar. Adam is a good friend of ours. Fantastic result from him. He's had a really, really good season since winning Malmo Regionals this year. Since then, he's stayed in top 22, maybe even top 16 of Europe, which is just fantastic. So really, really well done, Adam. He played a pretty standard Malamar list. There's nothing crazy about it, other than maybe the 2 Parallel, 2 Fury Belt. 4-3 Malamar. I think he's done a massive post on Facebook about all of his individual card decisions that I haven't been able to read so far, or haven't been able to dissect so far. He talked about a lot of it in the comments, and I've just read his post personally. So I could be misquoting, but in general, I don't think he missed the 4th Malamar too much. I think it was cut for he essentially better cards. You have elixirs, so you're not as reliant on it. But yeah, 4/3 Malamar, 2 Dawn Wings, 2 Necrozma is pretty standard. 2 Tapu Lele I think is pretty standard now as well. 1 Tina, 1 Marshadow, 1 Mewtwo. This is a super standard Pokemon list. Maybe the 4th Malamar is the only thing of consideration, but other than that, this is super standard. 10 Energy, I think a 10 or 11 count is again pretty standard. This is on the low side, but not out of the ordinary at all. 4 Sycamore, 3 Cynthia, 3 Guzma, 3 N, again pretty standard. 1 Bridget, I think there's still a bit of a debate over over whether you play Bridget or Lily. Sorry, I haven't played the deck enough to have a preference, but I would say Bridget just because it's a board-centric deck. The big spice was 2 Parallel to Fury Belt. Parallel was in very, very early Malamar lists to try and win the... oh, more bits from Bob McDougall. Thank you very much for the 25 bits. Oh, we're filling that cup up. Look at that. I haven't seen too much Parallel in Malamar lists as of late, but the Cake guys have been advocates of their Parallels from day one, and it served them well. All 3 of them that played the list, I believe all 3 played the list. I don't know whether Rob played the list, but essentially 3 of UK's Team Cake made it into top 32 of Sheffield Regionals, playing this exact 60, or very, very similar list. They all tested together. Ryan Morehouse making it to top 4. And then this is actually the exact 60 that Adam used for that tournament in this tournament as well. Stuck with the Parallels. I think they worked out very well for him. I think Joe would have a little bit more to say than me, personally. But if it works, it works. I haven't got anywhere near as much Malamar testing as Joe has, so I'm not the most experienced to talk about whether the Parallels are right in the deck. He, I know, disagrees with them. But they've done well, so maybe it's one to try out again. Maybe it could become standard, or maybe, again, now people are aware of it, it's something that has to change. 4 Treasure, of course, and 3 Ultra Ball. Pretty standard for searching stuff out. Obviously, Treasure searches the whole deck, so you want to run more of those than Ultra Balls. Doing an impression of Joe, where is the monkey? There is no monkey in this list. Joe would be fuming if he was here. I think Adam and Joe were talking about this deck a lot in the early Forbidden Light meta. Both had the Oranguru in. Joe never took his out, but Adam took his Oranguru out, and I think they pretty much stopped talking after that point because Joe was pretty set on keeping the Guru. But yeah, of course, doesn't play a Guru. 3 Elixir, oh sorry, 3 Floatstone. Really good with Dawn Wings, obviously. I think, again, this is a pretty standard count, similarly with the Elixir. 2 Field Blower. The times I have played the deck, I've played 3 Field Blower personally. Could see it being a cut, but with Zorogarb winning, your Zoroark matchup has to be really bad anyway. Zorogarb, sorry, matchup has to be really bad anyway. So maybe the 3rd blower isn't even worth. Maybe you just completely sack that matchup. But, you know, I think in general, maybe Buzzgarb it's a bit better, but I don't know. It's hard to say. Probably the Garb matchups that are around right now: Zorogarb, Buzzgarb, and Espeon Garb. Espeon Garb should win through typing anyway. Zorogarb should lose through typing anyway, and Buzzgarb, I don't know anywhere near the matchup enough to know whether the 3rd Field Blower is influential, but maybe they just realised it's not big enough, it's not important enough to claw back a victory from a bad matchup, or your good matchup is so good anyway, we don't need the 3rd, that kind of thing. So, you know, maybe 2 is fine. 2 Fighting Fury Belt. It does make for some nice numbers. It means that Mewtwo does 210, which is really, really nice with its GX attack. It means that it also hits 130 on Baby Buzzers with 2 energy, which is nice. Means that regular Necrozma also hits the what's it called? Yeah, the Lycanroc for 200 rather than 190, meaning that you don't need one. You need 1 less energy to be able to sort of essentially, you need one less energy to be able to one-shot them because you have Fury Belt, which is really, really big. Plus the extra 40 HP is nice. Fury Belting Dawn Wings in Buzzwole matchups is really, really big as well. Don't you just set the Dawn Wings versus Buzzgarb and win? I guess so. If you take the first KO, they can be String Absorption, you with Garb. Yeah. It's fair enough. But yeah, the Fury Belts have, or just essentially give you that little extra HP plus do. They actually really, really help with numbers, which is really, really important, I think. I don't love them, but I don't hate them. I think I would try them out personally. You can't play less than 2, which is unfortunate, but I don't think I'd ever find space for a third. I think 2 is the exact count I'm playing if I'm ever playing them. And then 1 Rescue Stretcher as support, which is nice. Being able to get your stuff back. This was the highest placing Malamar list. So really, really well done to Adam. Had a fantastic season. On to Ryan Antonushi's Zoroark Lycanroc deck. Again, this looks pretty standard. 4-4 Zoroark, 3-2 Lycanroc is pretty standard, similarly with 3 Lele. 1 Buzzwole I've floated in and out of in my deck. And 1 Mewtwo. I personally am running 1 Mew, I think, right now over the Mewtwo. But yeah, it makes sense. Buzzwole is a fantastically strong card. You know, I think it's evident how strong this card is if it's seeing one of in just a deck that happens to play Fighting Energy. So you know, I can see the justification for this card. I've played some Zoroark decks this weekend, not that aren't Zoro Lycanroc, but that have had access to Buzzwole, and it hasn't been fantastic because they've been able to play around it. But even so, I think I can see the justification for it because Sledgehammer is just such a big board swing, which is really, really impressive. And obviously the Mewtwo helping in fighting matchups, which is really, really cool. Being able to stop your opponent sort of throwing a big Buzzwole in your face and just announcing attacks every turn. You can respond pretty quickly with this, which is nice. You also have Kukui as well. So you don't always find Choice Band. Kukui is another out to me able to one-shot a Buzzwole with 3 energy, which is nice. Energy-wise, he's playing 4 strong, 4 DCE. This, personally, is, I think, very risky. After Seb 1 with this, I think we had to expect a lot more E-Hammer. I think as soon as Seb 1 with Zoroark playing this energy split, you were taking a massive risk if you were playing this energy split as well. I think the 2-3 split of strong to fighting is personally a little bit better. But at the end of the day, strong energy is an extra 20 damage, which is really, really big. And very important for certain maths. That with things like Kukui, with choice bands and stuff, you're going to be able to really push for knockouts that you wouldn't usually be able to get. Similarly with Buzzwole, it means that Buzzwole can reach 170 on that infamous 4 prize turn. So, you know, I can see the justification for 4. I think it's very risky still. I'd at least play 3 and 1. I think I'd probably play 3 and 2 in the basic fighting energy corner. But that's just me. Maybe that's not right. Maybe you had to take that kind of risk and hope that you didn't hit too many E-Hammers personally. And of course the 4 DC as well. 3 Bridget, 3 Guzma. 3 Guzma's pretty standard with 2 Lycanroc. I could actually see this going to 2, but I think 3 is fine, of course. 3 N, 2 Mallow. Again, pretty standard. I like the second Mallow. I like 2 Mallow in this deck because it's a bit more combo-y, and you're able to Mallow for a piece plus play Guzma in the same turn via Lycanroc, so I actually really like 2 Mallow in Zoroark. 1 Cynthia, 1 Kukui, 1 Sycamore. It seems that 1 Sycamore is becoming more and more standard in Zoroark decks. Just for that crazy, I need to draw, I need an answer now, and I've only got maybe 1 or 2 Zoroarks out, so I just need to dig through my deck. That kind of thing is very, very important. Kukui, of course, also helping you reach knockouts similarly to Strong Energy. If you're playing Kukui, I could also see another... that's also another reason for maybe being able to cut some Strong Energies. But, you know, maybe you just want to go hyper-aggressive. Damage, 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 dead. So yeah, you know. Stadiums wise, 2 Reverse Valley. We've already mentioned how this helps with the dealing with baby Buzzwoles, very important. 4 Puzzle, 4 Ultra Ball, 2 Field Blower, 2 Floatstone, 2 Weakness Policy, another deck playing Weakness Policy, really interesting. All of your deck is weak to a big type right now. Zoroark is obviously weak to Fighting, Lycanroc weak to Grass, Buzzwole weak to Psychic, and Mewtwo weak to Psychic as well. So actually all of the cards, other than Lele of course, don't mind having a Weakness Policy attached to them in certain matchups, which is cool. The biggest one though, I think of course, is against Buzzwole. Because they're not running Field Blower typically, I think it's very important to be able to try and swing that matchup back into at least 50-50 range, maybe even into your favour if you're playing double Weakness Policy, which is cool. 1 Choice Band, again, this could be another reason why he's gone for the Force Draw Energy. Because he's playing the Weakness Policy, he's only had space for 1 Choice Band, and therefore he's had to just bite the bullet and say, I lose more to E-Hammer, I lose to a random circuitry, but I do at least don't rely on Choice Band anywhere near as much as some of the other Zoroark decks, which is cool. 1 E-Hammer, 1 Multi-Switch. I think Multi-Switch is insanely good in this deck. I wouldn't play it without. And 1 Timer Ball. This is the only good thing about this card. He's cut 1. Now we've just got to find a space to... Now we've just got to find a card that we cut instead of the other one. Tim's just said it. Jack's favourite card on the list. 1 after Multi-Switch. Last week on stream, I flipped 3 double tails, in a row with Timer Ball. The card's trash, and I really don't want to have to play it this weekend. Obviously, Evo Soda's nowhere near as good because Evo Soda doesn't activate Bloodthirsty Eyes. But if you're playing 1 Timer Ball, I actually think you could get away with 1 Evo Soda instead. If you're playing 2 Timer Ball, if you're playing 2 of those cards, I think you have to play Timer Ball. But if you're playing 1, I actually wouldn't mind just cutting this for an Evo Soda. And just simply stating Ultra Balls are for Lycanrocs pretty much exclusively. The reason 1 choice is actually there's so many non-jets in play. Really 2 hitting taking care with Dangerous Rogue, 2 choices waste of space. That makes sense as well. Being able, like this is a very non-EX heavy meta. In some, or pretty much there's decks that are pretty much solely non-EX, and there's decks that are solely EX and GX. And because of that, you know, I can see why you're only playing 1 choice band. I'm just trying to, in my mind, justify why he's playing the 4 strong instead of playing a 2-3 split, which I think is so risky in a Zoroark meta. So I can see this being another reason that may not be a reason, but is also like a sub-leveled reason as well to, or another way to get around it, which is cool. But you know, so another Zoroark deck. So far, I've looked at 5 Zoroark decks, which is fantastic. There is a 6th Fabian Puyol, also made the quarterfinals. He actually faced Stefan in the quarterfinals for a 60 card mirror, so I'm not going to go over this list because it is indeed a 60 card mirror. But yes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Zoroark decks in top 8. Where are your Buzzwoles now, I say. One more Malamar list. This one is also Psychic Malamar, but it's a little bit of a funkier list. Has got the 4/4 Inky Malamar, 2 Dawn Wings, 1 Mewtwo, 1 Marshadow, only 1 Necrozma. I don't mind that too much. Necrozma can be a liability in certain situations, but it also is your big one-shotter. Mewtwo only gets 1 big knockout. So this is your big knockout Pokemon. This is often your answer to Lycanroc. So, you know, I can see why you would cut it, but I can also see it being very important. 1 Tina Promo, which is pretty standard. Only 1 Lele is very, very interesting, especially when you're playing Lily as well. The chances are so unlikely, but he is playing the full 4/4 count of balls, so, you know, maybe it's a bit more likely to find your 1 Lele on turn 1. This is playing 1 Guru as well. The real spice is 1 Lunala Prism Star and 1 Mimikyu. They are some spicy decisions right there. Lunala Prism Star obviously gets around Garb. It's a big answer to being able to still use or still set up around Garb. Also, it means you can actually just forget about your Malamars. Maybe you'll have games where you just accidentally, well not accidentally, but have to ditch too many Malamar pieces in the early game to try and claw back at your Malamar line in the late game. So I can see why Lunala is being considered. It is, however, weak to Dark and is very, very slow. So I'm not personally a fan. I think you're better off running a third Field Blower if you're worried about Garb. I think a third Field Blower is infinitely better than Lunala, personally. But this is, at the end of the day, it's actually a really good card against Buzzwole as well. It's similar to the Tina Promo having resistance as well. It's another big non-EX threat for Buzzwoles to go through, so it means that they're not able to pressure down your Inkeys because you can just actually sit with a Lunala in the active and just build your board that wins in 3 turns, which is cool. I'm not a huge fan, but hey, it worked. One Mimikyu, a Copycat copying an attack that isn't a GX attack. I don't mind this. Unfortunately, the big thing for me is it can't copy GX's attacks, but in general, I can see it being a nice little non-EX attacker. I think things like Pressure Mewtwo, someone just mentioned it in the chat. I don't mind Pressure Mewtwo at all. I think I prefer that to Mimikyu, actually. It's got more HP and obviously has that fantastic ability. But Copycat can catch people out of nowhere, catch people by surprise. Some just say drew really bad in Game 2 top 8. I actually haven't watched this top 8 game, so I don't know 100% whether there were any other lines that I'm seeing via Lunala and Mimikyu, but personally, they're why I can see he's playing the deck to be able to catch people by surprise and take big knockouts, kind of like Watch and Learn used to do in Buzzwole decks. I personally prefer, I think if I'm running a second non-EX, Pressure Mewtwo or Baby Mew, but Mimikyu is a nice little surprise. And the 11 Psychic Energy rather than the 10. 4 Cynthia, 4 Guzma. He's actually running no N, which is crazy because N is such a strong card in this format. He's running 4 Cynthia, 4 Guzma, and 4 Sycamore, and then 1 Lily. 1 Lily plus 1 Lele feels really, really counterintuitive because a lot of the time you're going to be using your 1 Lele for your game, searching out for a Lily. It feels really, really weird. I'm not personally a fan. I'd probably cut the Lily if I was only playing 1, but I think personally I'd just try and find a place for a second Lele. I think I'd immediately cut one of these two for a second Lele. I think Lele is too important. Like I said, the full 4/4 count of balls to be able to search out exactly what you want. Very, very important. 4 Floatstone, being able to move Dawn Wings. You don't pretty much ever need choice bands, so Floatstone, and as we saw with Adam's list, Fury Belt are the tools of choice. This guy's not playing Fury Belt though, not playing Parallel either. The rest is pretty standard. 3 Max Elixir, 2 Field Blower, and 1 Stretcher. Like I say, I think the Lunala could easily be a Field Blower. If I was changing this list, I'd probably just go Mimikyu to Lele, Lunala to Field Blower, cut probably 2 Cynthia, and maybe the Guru for 3N. Maybe an Energy. You know, I think I prefer Adam's list, which is really weird to say because it's the kind of wackier list in this respect. Mind you, this guy's playing no N and these 2 cards. Okay, this list is kind of weird. But it did well for him. I like that there was 2 very, very different Malamar lists do well. Very, very interesting to see some of these underused cards seeing success again, which is cool. And finally, Aaron Tarbell with, that's right, Yveltal Break. Where do we begin? 2 Yveltal Break and 3 Oblivion Wing Yveltal. Okay. And then 1 Strafe Yveltal as well. Crazy. Essentially, this is a spread deck from what I can... From how I'm looking at it, this is a spread deck. He's not playing any Devolution, which is interesting. But he is at least playing sort of a lot of different spreading archetypes. The Yveltal Break doing 120 for 3 and 30 is really interesting. I didn't see this card doing well at all. Not saying that it shouldn't do well, but I didn't predict this card to show up at all. Turns out it did. Very interesting. Yveltal is a big boy for fighting decks to deal with. 130 HP and resistance. 120 here, but, you know, really, really big. Oblivion Wing setting up your other Yveltals on the bench is cool. Strafing into Hoopers is another nice thing you can do against non-EX decks, which is... Sorry, not non-EX decks. You don't want to be doing that against non-EX decks. You want to be doing that against EX decks, EX and GX decks, to force them to go through Scoundrelling, which is big. 2 Mewtwo and 1 Latios are your kind of other answers to psychic weak decks, so Buzzwole. Both of your attacks attacking for DC is very, very big in the early turns, plus them being able to respond to big setup Buzzwoles. That's really, really cool. 1 Guru, 1 Flying Flip Tapu Koko to be able to do some damage, so you can then Baleful Knight in the late game to try and build more counters on the board. And 1 Tapu Lele GX, of course. Energy, 10 Dark, and 4 DCE. I think this is pretty standard because we're running 4 Max Elixir. This was kind of between 8 and 10, I think, was pretty standard in a lot of old school Yveltal decks that ran 4 Elixir. So this energy count isn't a surprise with 4 Elixir. 4 Guzma, 4 N, 4 Sycamore, 3 Cynthia. Many draw supporters. We're only running 1 N and an Oranguru, so we want more physical draw supporters if we can get them. 1 Parallel City is a really weird one. I'm not 100% sure why they're playing it, because if you're paralleling, you're limiting the amount of damage you're putting onto the board with things like Flying Flip and Baleful Knight. But that being said, Parallel is super strong. I can see it being useful in the early turns. I don't know whether there's anything else that I'm not thinking of, but it feels kind of weird to be taking counters away. But I guess if you're not going down a Tapu Lele movement path or an Espeon devolution path, essentially it doesn't matter whether there's 5 Flying Flips happening or 3, because you're going to be taking knockouts rather than trying to devolve or move damage about and manipulate it. So I guess it kind of doesn't make as little sense as it first may seem, but even so, you can put a lot of energy into, or a lot of effort, doing a lot of damage in these spread decks for you to then parallel them, because otherwise they maybe get a Lele for game and they just throw away some damage that you've just spent 2 or 3 turns flying flipping onto them, that kind of thing. So it feels kind of weird, but Parallel is such a strong card anyway, you can never really argue it. 4 Max Elixir, as I said, 4 Ultra Ball, 3 Choice Band just to put even more counters on the board as and where you can, 2 E-Hammer, 2 Floatstone, and 1 Super Rod. This deck is really interesting. I think there's definitely something here. It gains a lot from just that one card, Commandment Shrine. This wouldn't be how I would build a spread deck personally, but I think there is definitely legs to the spreading archetype personally. So yeah, it's definitely something that I want to try out. So yeah, congratulations Aaron Tarbell and everyone else. All of you guys did fantastic in the biggest tournament of all time. And congrats again to Stefan Ivanov for a fantastic show and taking down the tournament. Really well done. So that's it for the top 8 decks. We'll have one more game tonight. And do we want it to be with Tord.deck? I tried building it before we saw the list. I wonder how far off I was. 4/4 Zoroark. Actually he plays 1 Mew, so that was 1 card I was off. I plays 3 Bridget, 1 Cynthia, Delinquent, 3 Guzma, Mallow, 3 N, 1 Acerola. So I need 1 Sycamore in here. I plays 1 Floatstone, 2 Parallel, 1 Reverse Valley, Ultra Ball, Rishi Stretcher, yes. Field Blowers, yes. Episodes, yes. 3 Hammer, 2 Counter Catcher. So what am I missing? Missing a Sycamore. Stretcher, Counter Catcher, Mallow, Floatstone, Weakness Policy, Max Potions, there we go. FBL Zoro Log. Excellent. Right, one game. Let's see. Let's have some big brain gameplay. And then we'll do a few packs and then we'll call it a night. Zoro lock. Chitits the fan. Ah, I like that. Chitits the flan. Thank you very much for the host. Mattis198 is now following. Okay. I'm so nervous about playing this deck. There's going to be so many misplays. This hand's pretty bad turn 1. Or game 1. Hopefully we get end. Uh-oh. Time to do some thinking. We're already thinking. Oh. My theory is we're so unlikely with 4 DC to actually hit another energy this turn anyway. This is probably going down to a knockout anyway, so it doesn't matter that we... I'm doing it. I'm doing it. If we hit another energy this turn... yeah, okay, cool. Cool, cheers game. For making me look like a fool. I'm pretty sure we've lost, by the way, guys. Little fact for you. Maybe we should have got a Lele for a Bridget there. Poke. How many misplays have we made so far? Mill him out with Guru. That's the plan. That right there, by the way, guys, is why I don't like Sycamore and Zorak. Oh dear. Goody gumdrops. Okay, well this this hand is actually workable. We can get all of this stuff back with Guru. It's fine. It's fine. Oh gosh. Could have knocked out Rockruff. How could I have knocked out Rockruff? That's 70. We're only doing 60, right? Yeah, it's the opponent's reverse value. Are we ace rolling or are we ending here? You should trade N. Okay. Ace roller does seem good. I like this hand. Broken. Oh, I didn't need to do this. I really didn't need to do this. Because we just ace roller this guy. So we could have traded this Zoro away. No, this is later. This is later. This is later. This is later. We save this for later. Do we get a knockout here? I don't think we get a knockout here. I think we just start poking stuff. Have I traded with this one? I haven't. I should have traded with this one. Order lull. Order lull. Ah. Learning with Jack. If we counter catcher, our counter catchers are useless later on. Sure. This is big brain deck. Oh dear. Why did I reveal so much information? What did I reveal that I didn't need to? Should have saved the hammer too, probably. Yeah, what I should have done was I should have traded the Zorok there. I was forgetting we were ace rollering. That was a misplay. For sure. Yeah, Suppandage, you're right. So I have to Mallow for double puzzle. Okay, so I trade once. Mallow for double puzzle. My double puzzle gets back E hammer plus Mallow. So I'm getting that puzzle plus E-hammer, right? Go back, catch it. Go back, catch the Zorua. Wait, to catch the Zorua. So you want to get E-hammer parallel? Sure, E-hammer parallel. Why not? Oh, I should have catched the yeah. Ah, big brain, boys. Oh my god, that's not even the Zorua. Ah! Oh, And then I should have saved it. Okay. We're having another game. That just snowballed into oblivion. Let's have another game. This is the last game I'll have. That snowballed real bad, real quick. I know it didn't carry over, but I'd rather him have a Zorua on the board and a Rockruff on the board. So I should capture up the Zorua to keep it on the board, and then if he wants to keep the Zorua, he's getting rid of something else. Whereas like the Zorua is an easy discard for him. So I should. You actually start bringing Rough forward more. Interesting. I like getting rid of the Rough over the Zoro arc. What am I doing? Oh, Jack. Okay, how do we beat this? We would normally beat this by running out of energy. We beat this by verdicting out. When he verdicts us, we E-hammer plus flagrant him. I 100% should have led with a Mew there. 100%. Because I don't have an answer for. I have turn 1 Bridget, but I don't have a turn 2 supporter. Well, this right here is a turn 2 supporter. I've just given up. Easy. Now I have to waste a single puzzle just to stay in this game. We can shuffle these 3. We know we're not getting anything 3 turns, so we shuffle them, I think. Yeah, Brooklyn. This has been appalling. I'm sorry, guys. Well, we top decked. Excellent news. C80 100, 140, 60 180. So we need to hit our 1-off choice band. Feels so weird attaching here. I don't think I attach. Feels so bad not attaching, but I have no idea. Like, if he starts verdicting, I have no answer. This deck's too big brain for me. I can't do it. I play so badly on stream. I play so badly, period. Someone hire me a coach. I hate playing badly, especially when there's no one else here, because I just don't want to talk, because I'm just annoyed, but then it's just dead air. It really annoys me. Like, if Joe was here, Joe and Luke could be chatting now, and I could just try and focus on the game, but I've also got to try and focus on chatting, and that distracts me. I don't know. This will definitely be my last game of the night. I'm tilted. I think I want to make this play next turn. So I think I just trade fake a bad hand. Oh, we're going into Baby Buzz turn. There's no way I'm winning this game. There's no way I'm winning this game. There's no point in wasting your guys' time. So yeah, me and Joe and a couple of others are going to Valencia. We travel tomorrow. So there'll be no stream on Wednesday. We land Monday morning. So depending on how we're feeling, there may be a stream next Monday night. Looking at Valencia results. If not, it'll be Wednesday. So there won't be any stream on Wednesday. There may be one next Monday. If there's not, there will definitely be one next Wednesday looking at Valencia results, if it's not before. Then we've got a couple of weeks before Celestial Storm comes out. So we plan on doing some fun things, some Pictionary, some Jeopardy, that kind of thing for a couple of weeks, just chilling. Before we then look at Celestial Storm and oh yes, on Worlds Meta. Joe will be focusing mainly on Worlds Meta, and I'm going to be beginning to look at post rotation. We'll both be dipping and diving in the others' pool of decks as well, though, of course. But yeah, other than that, like I say, Valencia is this Friday. Me and Joe are both attending, hoping to get a good foot in the door. Ready for next season. That would be really, really good. Hopefully one of us can at least top 8. That would be very, very good. That's the plan. Have no more locked packs to open, unfortunately, for you guys. Sorry it went downhill at the end. I think I had 2 very tilting games where I just played awfully. But there's no point in me being on stream and playing awfully when I'm not feeling great anyway. So I'm going to call it there. Sorry it's a bit shorter than usual, and sorry I was the only one here. Joe and Luke are not, or Joe is at Luke's at the moment, so neither of them are able to join me tonight. But yeah, keep up to date. I'll try and post on the Twitter about how we're doing on Valencia. I really want to start using our Twitter again. So I'm going to try and keep you guys updated via Twitter. You can find us at OmniPoke, I'm pretty sure is the handle. If you type in !Twitter, I'm pretty sure it'll come up in the chat now anyway. And yeah, make sure you keep an eye on everything OmniPoke, everything CCG, all of that good stuff. Lots of things coming in the future, very near future. Worlds is just around the corner, that'll be good. There's our Twitter. Thank you very much, Mad Captain. But yeah, cheers for joining me. Sorry, like I say, it was a short stream, but definitely want to look at those top 8 NAIC decks because they were very, very interesting. No Buzzwall in top 8 is super, super interesting. Other than that, we'll keep you up to date with how we're doing in Valencia, either through the Discord or through Twitter. Is there a stream for Valencia? There is not, I believe. It's DreamHack, so they do all of their own streaming, and I don't believe they're streaming the Pokemon tournament. But again, if there is anything, we will let you guys know. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. Look forward to seeing you guys in a week or so's time. Hopefully with some more positive news than I can't play Big Brain Zoro. So yeah, cheers guys. Thank you very much.